So, how did you get into real estate?
I got into real estate when I first moved here in 2021. Prior to that, I lived in Hawaii and I worked for 4 seasons at Hualalai. And we worked primarily with private homeowners that own properties in Hualalai. And I did like property coordination. I worked with vendors and things like that. So I guess you could say that's when I first started to dabble into just managing properties. And then when I moved here, I saw an ad for a property coordinator or a service coordinator for Cunningham. And I immediately applied for it. And I think I actually interviewed with Kyle. So from there, I got the job and I started to help Sean just manage some of the business side of the short term and midterm rentals, working with owners, vendor coordination, things like that. And then it just snowballed from there. And so now I have my real estate license and I'm doing sales. So it just evolved.
Yeah, I feel like that's how everybody it's a weird path how you get there because most
Yeah.
people don't go to school for real estate. You just end up doing it for
Yeah.
some reason in life.
I feel like I always had a passion for real estate. I like getting homes ready. I like to decorate. I like art. And so it was like a natural thing just to get into real estate, short term rentals, midterm rentals, all of that. I like doing it. So
Did you ever do finishing designs on any of these ones?
on not specifically this one, but I did pick out pretty much the whole entire furnishing for one of our short term rentals, which is now a midterm rental. And I was a little scared because when we released it, I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I did a bad job. I second guessed myself. And when we got the first booking, I was just like so relieved that someone was booking the
Yeah.
property because I thought, oh my God, maybe I didn't do a good job. But it all worked out. And I had so much fun, like just doing all the shopping and putting all the pieces together and helping the owner or our client with it. And it was a success. So that was one that I did. But yeah,
Yeah, it is fun. It takes a lot of time.
it does. It takes a lot of time but the reward is huge because like and especially I feel like if you get something like on a blank slate and you're just working with like a blank canvas and you're putting something together, it's way more rewarding to have the finished product. Like this property, for instance, with you working with the investor and purchasing the property raw, unfurnished, no swimming pool, no pickleball court, nothing, and then putting everything together down to the licensing, which tomorrow this property is going to be, we're going to get our licensing
I
inspection
saw
done.
it on the map the other day that it's pending.
Yeah, yeah. So tomorrow is the big day for that. And so we're getting ready for that. But there's a lot of, aside from putting things like this together, like the furniture and the construction and things like that, the licensing process in itself can be quite tedious. And I would say that if there's anybody out there that's looking to get a short term rental license, you want to go with someone or a property management company that has a lot of experience with it.
Yeah.
Because if you get denied because you don't have the proper alarm set up, or there's just a lot of tedious things. And we can get more into that if you want. But yeah, you really want to find a property management company that knows what they're doing when it comes to short term rental compliance and the licensing, because it can be a big deal. Your whole entire operation can get shut down. So,
A lot of them right now in unincorporated Clark County,
yeah,
all of that processing. And then right now they're switching. Everybody that's getting shut down pretty much is switching from short term over to midterm right
yeah,
now.
they are. And it's a pretty easy transition, I'd say, going from a short term rental property and pivoting to a midterm rental property. Short term rental properties are already pretty much set up for midterm, and midterm properties, I would say they're a little easier. Your revenues are going to be a little bit lower, in some cases, a lot less lower, but definitely revenue will be higher than doing a long
Long
term
term.
rental. But a lot of the properties that are being shut down are pivoting towards midterm rental, and it's a seamless process aside from rebooking
Oh,
guests.
okay.
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
do when you rebook them? Do you put them at a different property or the same one?
What we try to do is we try to find other properties that we have that are open for those dates and try to fill them that way. But that part can be a little bit tricky. And like I said, you really need a team that knows what they're doing when it comes to that. So if your property is unlicensed and you get into some trouble, there's a process to that, and you're going to have to shut down within a certain amount of time. And you're going to have to rebook all of those people that booked on your calendar with another property.
What is the cancellation policy usually on the short-term rental?
That part out. Yeah, cut that part out because I haven't done that part in so long I forgot. Oh,
Dang, yeah, you have to cancel everybody. And
well, the cancellation with the short-term
Like,
rental, say if the property is being, you get a violation notice, all you have to do, all you have to do is show Airbnb that your property received a violation notice. And then I think in most cases, you won't receive a penalty if you can give them the
oh,
evidence.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, I don't think he wants you in his face.
If you guys don't know, but this property is actually dog friendly. There's not a lot of properties out there in Las Vegas that welcome your pets. Service animals, those are a guarantee. You
Always,
have
yeah,
to.
everywhere.
But if you have a pet, not everyone will accept them. But we do here at this specific property, and we put together a really cute dog run area or a dog relief area. And unfortunately, we didn't plan very well because what is it, like 112 degrees
It's
out?
really hot today, and yeah, it's a little bit too hot with the doggies.
So we brought them thinking that we were going to show everyone how cool it is. And they couldn't even put their plies onto the turf. They're like, this is way too hot.
Do you ever
So,
put shoes on him?
you know what? I tried putting shoes on him and he hated it. He did like the
Yeah.
cats. The cats like, yeah. So he doesn't do well in the heat. He's
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 from
kind-
Hawaii. He's like he's a
actually, he's
boy.
not from Hawaii. My other dog
Oh.
is from Hawaii, but he's actually from Summerlin. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah. He's from Summerlin.
What did you? So you got him when you moved here?
I got him about 6 months into my move, and he's a Pomeranian. He's purebred. I looked at his paperwork. His dad's name is Jangles, and his mom's name is Princess Leia.
Oh,
And
cute. I love his tail.
his name is Yuki, which means snow.
Is Yuki always a boy name?
I think Yuki is a unisex name. It means snow or winter in Japanese.
He looks like a little snowball.
He does. Some people say he looks like a pom-pom, like a little cheerleader.
He does. I'm glad they get along.
When you helped the investor purchase this process, can you explain like how that all went, how it started? I know that the investor that purchased this short-term rental, we actually managed his long-term rental, which he sold, and then purchased this property, which is now going to be a short-term rental.
Yeah. So originally, this property was on the market for a while prior, but they weren't getting the price that they needed. I think it ended up being foreclosed on. Wally, what are you doing? Are you guys gonna play? So this property, it was on the market for a while. They originally saw it a few months before.
Uh-huh.
And we did have a client, and we were negotiating on a price, but they ended up that we couldn't settle upon a price
Mhm.
together. So he passed on it. And then it ended up going to the bank, and it went to a bank sale auction, and it came back on a few months later. And at that
Okay.
point, then Sean saw it too. And he had a client that happened to be coming in town. And he was
Oh.
like, this property, because it's really hard to find a short-term rental,
Mm.
has the possibility to get licensed.
Mm.
And so in Henderson, they're all going to be pretty far out, pretty far east Henderson, like near Lake Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And so this was one property. At first, like we knew it would be difficult, and we ran the numbers because it didn't have anything in the backyard. Like it was all dirt back. But he did do a lot to it. But we knew that it was going to be a process. So it takes the right client too that's going to work with it
Yeah.
and do a good job on it. So he knew that the client was in town. He took him, and then they started working on it right away. So I wasn't as much in that transaction. I was assisting, but it's pretty much Sean, and he went through buying this property, and then we ended up selling his investment house here and did a reverse 1031 exchange.
Oh, okay.
But got all
Can
the
you
points.
explain what is a reverse 1031 exchange?
So a regular 1031 exchange, you you sell your property, and then you have those funds and you have the timelines, and then you have to purchase your new house and you roll all of that over to avoid the capital gains tax.
Right.
But when it's a reverse one, you actually buy the property first. So maybe you found and this is the house that I want to purchase, this is the investment, but you haven't already set everything up to sell your house yet. So it's more expensive and it's more confusing, but it does.
Yeah.
Works.
Yeah, it works. So for this specific property, how much do you think the client invested into it to bring it to where it is right now, ready to be released onto Airbnb as a full short-term rental?
Let's see. So the pool, just with the backyard, though, it's easily what 40,000, maybe more.
So the pool, the pickleball court, and the dog run, including like all of the gravel, everything.
Yeah.
What do you think he put into that?
Probably like 100,000 into it.
Really?
Because the pool itself was probably like 60, 70.
Yeah.
Pickleball court, I think, was around 20.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the dog run.
I think the dog run was fairly cheap. I would say that's one important thing to note is that when you're making an investment, you really want to have those vendors that are going to come down on their price, but do quality work.
Yeah.
And so I think we actually found that for this investor. We found a landscaping company that did all of the landscaping and also did the dog run and even did the fence for the dog run. I think they even had to build a wall in the back. That wall wasn't there.
Because it was part of the regulations for the short-term rental.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I would say for short-term rental, if you're buying it on a clean slate like this with no pool, nothing, you're going to have to put those things in order for the short-term rental to be successful. You have to have those amenities like a pool, hot tub. This one, we have a strip view. So that's.
Yeah. There was like, when sold it, this is a really good property for that.
Yeah. You're going to sit in that pool in the hot tub and you're going to face the strip. And the view is it's going to be epic, and especially at night. So yeah, I think like anybody that's interested in doing short-term rental or making an investment, they have to think about those things like the amenities, because you're not going to have a successful short-term rental if you don't have those things.
Yeah.
So
make sure you budget really well for it. Add in extra expenses because it's never exactly what you plan for.
Yeah.
Things will always come up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just outside. I'm not sure inside. Like I know that we had Patty, the designer. She did all the inside, but I don't know what it was. The budget for furniture is.
I think if I remember correctly, and I'm just going off the top of my head, I think it was somewhere around 70,000 for all of the interior, and that like included all of the furniture, putting everything together, painting, things like that. But anytime you make an investment in a short-term rental, especially one like this, like we're talking about a clean slate, there's going to be issues like with the showers, plumbing, and you have to add in all of those costs because those things are going to come up.
Yeah, and especially, so this is a tier 1 property.
Yeah.
So it's always, the costs will go up on the quality of the furniture, everything, as you go up or down in the tiers.
Yeah.
Tier 3 is like regular house. They say a little bit nicer, and then luxury is tier 1.
Yeah. So she's barking at herself in the mirror. Come here. So we go by tiers with our short-term rental properties, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And this particular property that we're sitting at right now is a tier 1. And I would consider it a luxury property.